One second, just setting up my screen. All right. Let's see who is here. Who is here in the morning party? Raise the volume. Hi, Alexis, Juan Carlos. Who else is here? Josie. Now I know. How are you? Good morning. Hi, Natalie, Wolfgang, Blake, Karina with a K. Hi, Josie. Where is your bird?
They're sleeping right now.
I didn't even know birds sleep. How do they sleep? They just lay down on the side? No.
No, mine are weird. They like, so I have this paper bag that I layered at the bottom of their cage. So when they defecate, it like lands on there and it's an easier cleanup. So what they do is they crawl to the bottom of the cage and they lift it up and then they sleep under the paper bag. They're so weird.
That's their comforter. That's exactly how I. Hi, Andre. Hi, Rory, Alejandra. Good morning, everybody. Natalie is emerging from under the ocean, and there is sun coming through that little tunnel in like a vortex, under ocean vortex.
Yeah, I was hanging out with the octopuses all night trying to figure out their chains.
Yeah, like she's going like this, and the water is turning like a tornado and creating. Hey, Spencer, what's up, Spencer?
Oh, not much.
You guys can survive another week and a half, right? Everybody has the energy, coffee, whatever else, candies, M&Ms, they're all there, right? Within your reach. Sounds good. Let's talk. Let's talk about some chemistry. How many of you are here? Oh my God, the number is dropping, man. 12, okay. So it went from, I think we have 19 students. So, okay, that's fine. That's fine. And many of you are keeping your cameras on, so I appreciate that. Hi, Alejandra. Hi, Alejandra. Alejandra, you look like you're like an angel emerging from some special light behind you. Yeah, that's exactly how it looks like. It looks like a really nice, background screen. Hey, Blake. How are you? What are you guys doing with your caps?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Move a little bit. I want to see that picture again in the back. Is that black and white?
Yeah.
I love black and white pictures. You know, Ansel Adams, he's a famous black and white photographer. Check it out. Ansel, I think A-N-S-E-L, Adams, A-D-A-M-S. His black and white photography sells for like lots and lots of money. All right, let's talk about some chemistry. We are being recorded. Uh-oh, yeah, I don't know. I hope I didn't say anything. Okay, let's go to the board. Cyclic alkanes. Let me open the window a little bit. Right here, it's going to be a little more lighted. Let's see what we have here. Cyclopropane. If the daddy is propane, then the baby cyclic guy is cyclo, that alkane's name. Cyclopropane, cyclobutane. We'll talk about a few more. Cyclopentane, cyclohexane, cycloheptane, cyclooctane, stuff like that. We'll talk about their structure. We'll talk about their, joint pain, because some of them are like, they're sp3, and so they're supposed to be 109.5, but they have been kind of really bent out of shape, literally bent out of shape to form a cyclic molecule. We'll talk about that. So just, I don't think there is a whole lot important stuff here. So let me just clean up the board and let me write down things a little more cleanly. Okay. So let's do that. Okay, so okay, so we are Ch8 summer 21. Let's put today's date. I think it's 2nd of June. So Ch8, I'll just put today's date. And that's June 2nd, 21. And we're discussing cycloalkanes. Cycloalkanes. And the naming of each cycloalkane is done exactly like the way cycloalkane is written. Cyclo and then whatever alkane, right? So one cycloalkane, another cycloalkane, pentagon, hexagon. Okay, pretty simple. Cyclopropane, cyclobutane, cyclopentane, and cyclohexane. Okay. Realize that these cycloalkanes, all the carbons are sp3. They're all sp3 everywhere. They're all sp3. So the problem is if I draw this molecule, okay, we'll talk about its shape in a second. I'm going to draw it in 2D, okay, not worry so much about 3D. If I spell it out with all the hydrogens and carbons, this is what it looks like. And we know that when you have an sp3 carbon, it wants to be tetrahedral. It wants to be tetrahedral and it wants to be 109.5 degrees all around it, right? So wants to be tetrahedral, okay, but it cannot be tetrahedral because this bond angle is all screwed up. The bond angles are 60. Okay, let's make a model. So we will start with a propane and then go from there. So this is propane. You know what? Let's put some hydrogens, but I don't know if we have enough hydrogens. No, we don't have enough hydrogens. You know what? We will just make do with what we have. So if you could see this tiny little sticks, right? Let's say that's a hydrogen. Let's say that's a hydrogen, so that's a CH2. Let's say this is a CH3. 3 hydrogens and the 3 corners. Just pretend that they're hydrogens. Okay, 2 hydrogens, 3 hydrogens, and 3 hydrogens. Let's say this is propane. CH3, CH2, CH3, right? 3 plus 2 plus 3, C3H8. excuse me, normal alkane. Now, as I said, if you want to make it a cyclopropane, what do you have to do? You have to lose one hydrogen from right and one hydrogen from left end, because you want to make a bond between them, right? So you want to use one of the sp3 orbitals from carbon 1 and one sp3 orbital from carbon 3 and make a brand new sigma bond. How do you do that? Well, let's make a bond. Now, that's the shape that it wants to be, because everybody likes to be tetrahedral. This guy wants to be tetrahedral, this guy wants to be tetrahedral, that wants to be tetrahedral. At this point, all the angles are roughly 109.5, right? Makes sense? So now when you're trying to make a cyclohexane, you see, I'm always worried whenever I do this exercise that I'm going to break one of those plastic pieces. So when I'm trying to make a cyclopropane, just keep your fingers crossed that I don't break it. This is actually pretty expensive. Yeah, you can tell that this is, it's almost like a little exercise for my fingers. I can't even do it like that. So, okay, I didn't break it yet. So you can tell how much force it was necessary to bend it out of shape to make a cyclopropane, right? So this is highly strained molecule because it's sp3. They're all sp3. They don't like to be sp3. It doesn't want to be 60. 60 degrees, if you subtract the numbers, 109.5 minus 60, 49.5 degrees, there is a difference. You are almost cutting it into like half, almost like less than 50%, but you are almost decreasing the bond angle to almost to like, I don't know, 45% or something. It's terrible for the molecule. So it has what is called angle strain, okay? Terrible joint pain. Hopefully you will remember this way. And this is a colloquial word. Don't put it in the exam. Well, you're not going to write anything, but the right word is, I'm going to put it in parentheses. The right word is angle strain. That's the right word. Okay, it's got terrible angle strain. Similarly, if you make a cyclobutane, okay, no damage done yet. If I make a butane, where is my little connector? That's a happy butane, spinning around and all that. Remember that butane can also do this conformation. If you look down carbon 2 and carbon 3, okay, this is staggered, eclipse, staggered, eclipse. This eclipse is terrible. These methyl groups are very close. Just something that we learned yesterday, okay? So any molecule that can turn around the carbon-carbon bond, they can go through that staggered and eclipse conformation. They're called conformation. Important for the end of today's class. Conformation is something that happens when a bond is turning. These are also conformations. Okay. Eclipse, staggered. Eclipse, staggered. Eclipse, staggered. So we are looking down carbon 1, carbon 2. If you look down carbon 3 and carbon 4, you can also do that exercise. Eclipse, staggered. eclipse, staggered. This staggered is awesome. The big methyl groups are far away from each other. Eclipse, eclipse, another kind of eclipse, staggered. Eclipse, horrible eclipse. These methyls are closest. That's the worst eclipse for butane, rotating in the middle. Okay, this was just an exercise. One question in the whole exam, in the quiz, or whole midterm, or maybe 1 or 2 or 3 difficult questions in the final will be there. But then again, if I'm asking you 30 questions in the quiz, in the midterm, maybe 1 or 2 will be difficult, very difficult, and those 2 will be counted as bonus questions. Not necessarily those 2, but let's say 30 questions, right? Each question is 2 points. So total points is supposed to be 60, right? So if total points is supposed to be 60 for 30 questions, I will make the total points when I do the final grading, not 30, but 26. Okay, so if you get, I said 26, wrong. I'll make the total points 56, okay, not 60. Because I will basically assign 2 problems as bonus. We don't know which 2. If you get the difficult ones right, but screw up something simple, then you can still get 56 out of 56 by answering 28 questions out of 30 correctly. Make sense? If you get all 30 correctly, you will score 60 out of 56, more than 100%. So there is a chance that you might be able to score over 100%. Making sense, right? Okay, I don't know. Is there a bonus question today? Yes, there is a bonus question today. 8 questions, not each question is 2 points. Total points, Canvas says 16, but I will reduce it when I do the final grade to 14. You get that, right? So don't trust Canvas's numbers that it's spitting out all the time. Don't freak out like, oh my God, I'm going to fail this course or something like that. Today's quiz is going to be out of 14 points, not 16 points as Canvas says. And I have written it down in that little description of the quiz. So if you get all 8 correctly, then you will score 16 out of 14, over 100%. Okay. We are not supposed to be talking about conformation, but that was a little distraction. This is butane. If I want to make cyclobutane, I need to lose 2 hydrogens to make a brand new bond between the 2 carbons. See, it is not so bad. It is bad to bend this whole darn thing, but it's not as bad as making cyclopropane. It's bad. It's pretty bad. Okay. Cyclobutane, it's not really flat. Cyclopropane, I forgot to tell you. I hope I don't break it this time. Cyclopropane is completely planar. Let me write it down. I forgot. Cyclopropane is, let me use a different color. Cyclopropane is planar. There is no way this molecule can bend out of shape. 3 points, right? When you have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, there is always a plane. There is no way it cannot be planar. 1 point, second point, it's always a straight line. A third point, always a plane. It doesn't matter where the third point is. If it is here, then the plane is here. If the third point is here, then the plane is that way, right? So it's kind of a trick question if you think about it. It's a no-brainer. So, but cyclobutane is not totally planar because one side sometimes kind of lifts up. Sometimes there is a little, it's called puckery. P-U-C-K-E-R-I-N-G, puckering. So it's not completely flat. One side can be a little up. Almost planar, okay? Not exactly planar. So this angle, these angles are 90 degrees. So 109.5 minus 90 is 19.5. The difference is 19.5, not as bad as 49.5. So it's under some angle strain. I'm going to pop the door open. It's really stuffy here. Super stuffy. Some angle strain. Not as bad as this guy. This is the worst. Okay, some angle strain. Let's move to cyclopentane. Let's increase one more bond. Okay. Let's make a cyclopentane. As you can see, that building a cyclopentane is not so painful. It's not perfectly tetrahedral, but it's not so bad. It's pretty good. What's the shape of a cyclopentane? Usually, 4 of the carbons are always planar, and one side is always lifting up or lifting down. Okay? It's kind of like that. And that can happen with any of those carbons. Okay? This molecule is always like kind of flipping. And it's kind of doing some exercise. It's doing some kind of bending within that 5-member pentagonal framework. Okay? It's kind of going through that conformational change. And it's impossible to tell which one is bent up or down or pushed up or down. It really doesn't matter. This shape, I'll tell you what this shape is like. This shape, okay, kind of like this, where this part is planar, carbon 2, 3, 4, and 5 are planar. 1 is up. Okay, this shape is called, anybody remembers from the past, or if you have taken 128A and you remember, or anyone remembers from anywhere else, it's a paper bag that we used to use, we still use, some of us still use. In the old days, you probably don't know, there used to be like a little cylindrical thing, box by the different parts of our society, and you would write something in a piece of paper, and you want to send it to your grandma, and your grandma lives in, let's say, Arizona, and you would fold that thing and put it in this little paper bag that looks like a cyclopentane. Fold that lifted part, put some glue, or it comes with a glue, and you lick it, and then you close it, and you put the address and throw it in something that looks like a trash can, but it's not a trash bin. And then somebody comes and picks it up and puts it in some kind of vehicle, and it goes to your grandma's city, Mesa, and then it gets delivered. So what is this shape called? I'm not mocking you. I'm not condescending. I'm just having some clean fun. What is this shape? Envelope. There you go. This is, so cyclopentane's shape is called envelope. Thank you. How many of you have used an envelope to send a letter? Nobody? Unmute yourself and tell me. Spencer, you have written a letter? Oh my God, what's wrong with you? Anybody else has written a letter and put it in a mailbox?
I have.
I've written letters.
Juan Carlos? Yeah, anybody else? I'm really curious.
I have.
You have, Rory?
Yeah.
When did you do that? When you were a kid?
Multiple times. I think I
Seriously?
sent one. Yeah,
I'm
someone
impressed.
like 2 weeks ago or something.
Who did you write to? You don't have to tell me. I don't want to know your personal stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe you wrote to the president of Universe or someone. Yeah. Cool. I think this is a pretty interesting class. I really wish that this were in person. Then we could have had more fun. This is pretty cool. Some of you have listened to like 80s and 70s music. Some of you have watched old shows. What's wrong with you people? You guys are definitely missing out something of the modern world. No, this is good. I'm sure that you guys talk to your friends too. Not always do this, right? That's great. This is fantastic. So this is an envelope. As I told you that this is a pain in the neck for a chemist to synthesize in a research lab. It is really a pain in the neck. But sometimes you find it in nature. You go figure, like why does nature make something weird like that? And it's kind of interesting because when I was in India working for a pharmaceutical company, it turned out that that particular group in certain part of a molecule, we were trying to make a small organic molecule that will impair an enzyme. Enzyme is a protein that catalyzes biological reactions, okay? We wanted to make more HDL, right? There is a drug called Lipitor. I'm sure you guys know about that, atorvastatin. So atorvastatin's job is to basically mess up the synthesis of cholesterol in the body. If I eat too much shrimp and too many eggs, actually, there is a story, I don't want to get distracted right now. There was actually a colleague who did that and whose blood we used to joke that it's almost solid. He has solid blood because of cholesterol and other problems. So yeah, he used to eat like 2 pounds of shrimp every weekend and 3 eggs in the morning and 2 eggs in the night. So he used to consume 5 eggs every day. And his cholesterol was like the LDL was 475 or something, some ridiculous number. And the doctors thought he was going to die within a week or something. So anyway, we were trying to make a molecule that pushes HDL up. And that molecule, it turned out that we needed cyclopropane groups, 2 of them, one part of the molecule. And it always looked funny the way I drew the molecule, like the cyclopropanes look like the 2 feet, like the molecule is kind of walking. I will draw that sometime, maybe toward the end. I'll show you like exactly what molecule I'm talking about. So go figure like why nature uses these shapes for its architecture or its business. Who knows? Cyclohexane is obviously most popular in nature, most popular in the scientific community, in the chemists community. So this is cyclopentane. Cyclopentane's angle, I forgot exactly what it is. It's less than 109.5. You can Google it and find out. I don't remember exactly what. It's 100 something, but less than 109.5. But it's pretty darn close to 109.5. It's a pretty happy molecule. Okay, so I don't know what else to talk about cyclopentane. Remember the envelope shape. I might throw that in one of the questions. Cyclohexane is the popular child of this cycloalkane family. We will spend quite a bit of time on cyclohexane. Not too much. I promise that I won't get carried away. Okay. I'm not going to use a model. Cyclohexane, we'll discuss it down here. Okay, that's the space that we are left with. Cyclohexane looks like this. All right, hexagon, and then it has okay, and the formula is, as you would expect, Ch8-6.2.21-Cyclohexanes, following CN H2N formula, right? All the cycloalkanes follow that formula. All right. If you know the answer, if you have seen it before, please try to control your urge to answer. If you don't know, and if you want to make like an intelligent guess or wild guess, the molecule looks planar, right? And if I tell you that this molecule is the happiest molecule, every sp3 carbon is super happy. They're all sp3, right? They're all sp3. The green dot means they're sp3, whatever it is. And if I tell you this angle, I don't know what the angle will turn out here. If you do the calculation, it's going to be 180 divided by 6. No, that's not right. It's not 30 degrees. Whatever the angle is. I'm not that good with the geometry.
It's 120.
No, it's not going to be 120. Are you sure it's going to be 120? From what's the angle of a hexagon? Maybe 120. I'm not sure. I'll have to think about it. That's not, I don't want to give you some wrong information knowingly. Unknowingly, it's okay. But the angle happens to be perfect. Not perfect, very close to 109.5. So it's a super stable, super happy molecule. Very stable. And organic chemists, especially in 128A and B, whenever we discuss cycloalkanes, 128A, we spent an awful lot of time discussing its shape, okay? The shape of the molecule is not planar, because if it is planar, it cannot be a super happy molecule. The way the molecule adopts its structure is fascinating, okay? Let's do that. Let's make a hexane and then let's extend it. Okay, this is a hexane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hexane, and you can tell that hexane can be like the normal hexane, like the way you expect it to be, like zigzag, right? This is normal hexane, but this guy can, every bond can turn. So if carbon 2 and carbon 3 turns, it starts to look a little weird. If it turns more here, it looks even more weird. If it turns more, it may look almost cyclic, like a cyclopentane. Or it can turn this way, right? So remember, single bonds can rotate, sigma bonds can rotate, and it can take all kinds of, and these are different conformations. The happiest conformation is probably this. This is the happiest conformation because everybody is farthest away from each other. This conformation, like this is how an artist draws the mountains in the far away from us, right? Like little mountains. What other shape it can adopt? Can it look like a question mark? I think it can. Yeah, it can look like a question mark. There you go. Question mark. Okay. All right. I'm going to build it behind me. I'm not going to let you see the molecule. And I will try to hold it in a way that you cannot really tell the shape of it. I'm going to just hold the molecule from the, I don't know if this is side. No, this is not side. This is probably like top or bottom of the molecule. If I show it to you this way, this molecule looks like a flat molecule. Okay, you guys are ready? If I hold it from the side, I'll see if I can turn. Okay, it looks like if I eclipse everything, like if I put the back bonds right behind the front bonds. It looks like this. Or it looks like this. And it resembles some object in my office present or at home. Something that looks like this. What does it look like? What is, if I add that little piece down here, what is that object called?
Sure.
Chair. So cyclohexane adopts a shape that's called a chair. Not an envelope, but chair. See, chemists are not that boring. Chemists use all kinds of real metaphors to describe the shape of their molecule. There was a time when chemists could get money from funding agencies. I cannot get funding for my Alzheimer's project or my pest repellent project, but chemists could get money to make pretty or interesting or crazy looking molecules. There was a molecule that was called basketin. It looked like a basket. There was a molecule that looked like a bowl. I don't know what the name of that molecule was. It's the professional name was coranoline. But then, yeah, so this molecule is called a chair. And this is a weird chair. So this is your backrest. And this is your footrest. And this is where you sit. You sit here. Okay, so this is why it's a chair. We're going to discuss this chair a little bit more. Let's take a maybe two-minute break. I'm going to take a picture. I'm not going anywhere. I might stop the recording. So let's take a quick break because it's going to be a little involved discussion. And my plan is my ambitious plan. Every time I say that, I jinx it. My ambitious plan is to finish cyclohexane discussion in an hour's time. If I can do that, I'll treat myself with a better than average lunch. Otherwise, I'll have the same thing from Costco. Okay. I'm just going to sit down. So let's say if you move to the front camera, I will, what time is it? 7:48. So we'll get back in 7:53. Cyclohexane discussion is going to take some time. Then we might go like 1 full hour, might take a little break and go from there. So I'm going to shut my camera. I'll mute myself. If you want to ask me any questions or discuss, I'm fine. I muted myself. Yeah, I said that. Let's get back at 7:53-ish. 4 minutes. I'm not turning off my camera. All right, I'm back. Let's get to business. Hey, Natalie. Hi, Josie. Hey, Spencer, Andre. Hope you guys got some more than 5 minutes rest. Hey, Brian. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good, Dr. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Good to see you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Abigail. Hi, Wolfgang. Alexis. All right, let's talk about cyclohexane. Who wants to name their child by their molecules names? This is my son, cyclohexane, and my daughter is, I don't know, what's a feminine alkane? Octane sounds too boyish. Decane, no, Decalina. That could be a nice little girl's name. This is my daughter Decalina, and this is my son Propane. He's very explosive. Just kidding. I definitely have some problem up here. I need to go see one of those people, you know. Check me out. Decalina. That's a really nice name. I just came up with it. I'm so proud of myself. Don't name your child like 3-methyl, 1-ethyl hexane. Josie, you can start like naming your birds, like giving them molecule names. For your animals. Okay, discussion on recording. Oops. Yeah, oh, shoot. I never shut it down. I'll have to trim it this time. Otherwise, there will be an awkward silence. It doesn't really matter. Just don't watch that part. Okay, so you will have to learn how to draw cyclohexane chair. You will have to get your you really have to wrap your head around this shape. And I will wrap this molecule around my head instead of wrapping my head around the molecule. I'll tell you what I mean. You will understand. So this discussion is going to be exclusively on cyclohexane. All things cyclohexane, all right? It looks like an innocent molecule. Okay, this is the 2D representation, the stick diagram, skeletal diagram, and from the side, it looks like this. Okay. Or this. It looks like a chair. So if the shape is called a chair, okay, what does this chair look like? All right, let's discuss. So let's discuss its shape. Okay, let's discuss shape. We're going to discuss its shape now. Let's look at the molecule and go from there. Okay. This will be a good time to invest in a model set. Whenever I say model set, I think about a train. I always wanted a really fancy train set, but my parents never had the funding to buy me an expensive one. I didn't want the cheap ones made from like some cheap stuff. I wanted something really fancy, but never happened. Okay, so if you look at the molecule, it looks like a hexagon, right? However you look at it. When you look from the side, I'm trying to look at my camera. It's very difficult to like, yeah, okay, there you go. This is like when you are totally like holding the back side behind the front side. But if you hold it slightly slanted, this is how the cyclohexane looks like. Okay, so these two carbons, imagine, hold on just a second. Yeah, these two carbons I'm holding on to, these two carbons are on the whiteboard. Okay, let's say carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So 1 and 4 are on the whiteboard. Okay, 2 and 3 are kind of sticking out toward you. Okay, these two are on the whiteboard. Hold on just a second. Okay, I'm holding this magazine here. Okay, that's the plane of the whiteboard. And that side is sticking out, and that side is sticking behind. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over there, and 6 close to me. Okay, so 1 and 4 are on the whiteboard. 2 and 3 are parallel to the whiteboard but sticking out. Make sense? And 5 and 6 are parallel to the whiteboard but behind the whiteboard. Okay, so I'm going to remove this magazine now. Okay, so the molecule is usually visualized this way, slightly slanted so that we can see all the carbons. Carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is how we draw the molecule. Okay, I will show you how to draw the molecule, but it will take you some time. I'll teach you a trick how to draw the molecule. Because I've been doing it for a long time, it's like my second nature. It's easy. But when you first learn it, it takes some time. Okay, carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These two are 1 and 4 on whiteboard. 2 and 3 are out. 5 and 6 are behind. Let's make sure you guys are comfortable with that. I think this is important. 1, 2 out, 3 out. This is parallel to the whiteboard. This is again on the whiteboard, kind of the down point. That's number 5 and number 6. They're again parallel to the whiteboard, but behind the whiteboard. Okay, this is where the whiteboard is. Okay, got it? So that's the way the molecule looks like. We will talk about the hydrogens in a second. If you think about, as I was joking, not really fully joking, I was partially joking, that I'm not going to, wrap my head around the molecule. I'll wrap the molecule around my head. Let's do that. If you think that this is a crown, it's just like if you think about, you can actually make this model using some wire. If you're good with your hands, you don't even have to good with your hands. Take a hanger from the closet that's made out of metal. You might be able to get lucky and find one of those things, or find like a piece of wire and bend it this way. How do you bend it? If you look at this crown, this is the low point, right? Down, up, down, up, down, up. So if you think about it, it's a very simple contraption. Down, up, down, up, down, up. It's just that. Make sense? You can wrap your head around it or wrap the molecule around your head. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. It's not that bad. So this down point and this up point, they're actually pretty much the same. Why do I say that? Well, I'm holding on to this up point and this down point. Okay, remember, right side up, left side down. What am I going to do? I'm going to flip the molecule upside down. The right side was up, now the right side is down, left side is up. So it's basically all the points are equivalent. Make sense? So carbon 1 and carbon 2 are essentially the same thing. It's looking like it's up, but what if I put the crown upside down? Then it's down, right? As I said, the object doesn't change. The object doesn't change how we look at it. Here is the screen and that's the back side. If I turn my cell phone upside down, then the screen is facing up and the back side is down, right? I can hold it this way, then the screen is facing you and the back side is behind, right? It doesn't change the molecule. It's pretty much the same. So just by flipping it this way or upside down, it doesn't change the molecule. Or if you look at the molecule like this, if you hang it like that, it's the same cyclohexane. And my point that I'm trying to send across is every point is pretty much the same. It's equivalent. If you make a contraption using wood, 2x4 or whatever, something like skinny wood, and then if you give it this structure for a long time, I am pretty good with my hand, but I don't have all the tools in the garage. I just have minimum stuff because, my job takes up all my time. I have minimum stuff to work on cars and a little bit of other stuff. Like I have some saws and stuff. I don't have like fancy electric saws and those things. So if you have the time and the knack, it'll be really cool to build an actual chair that looks like a cyclohexane. And I'll give you some ideas later on, like how you can do that. Okay. So when I hold the cyclohexane chair this way, okay, this is the sitting area. I'm looking for an object. Okay. This is where you sit. Okay. That's where you sit. That's your footrest. And that's your backrest, right? If I flip it upside down, then the chair switches the footrest. This used to be the backrest. Now that's its footrest and that's its backrest. Okay, so that's what it is. So now what I would like to do is teach you a trick to draw this molecule and kind of show you like which part is sitting area, which part is footrest, and which part is backrest. Okay, so I don't know if I can put this molecule here on the chair. I don't know if it's going to go up anymore. This is the highest position. Okay. You might be able to barely see it. Okay. I'll teach you a trick to draw cyclohexane. I've seen a lot of people draw cyclohexane really bad. I'm kind of an A-type person. I want cyclohexane to be drawn the right way. We need to show due respect to all these molecules. Okay, so how do you draw cyclohexane? It's pretty easy. I know that it's not going to be, I can't ask you to draw it using a free response type of a question, but I think it's a cool skill to have. Okay, how do you draw cyclohexane? First thing that you do is imagine that's a very terrible. I dropped it in the trash can. Let's draw two parallel lines. Is this pretty horizontal? Yes. Okay. I just lightly drew two horizontal, like a railway track. Okay, ready? I draw a slanted line here. A straight line. at an angle. What angle? I don't know. Less than 45 degrees, maybe 30 or 40 degrees from the vertical. Okay. As you can tell, this angle is less than that angle. Then what I do is I go maybe, if this is about that long, I go like a little bit longer, maybe 1.5 times that. You don't have to measure it. You really don't have to measure it. If you're using ruler and stuff, then you are really wasting time. Don't do that. Okay. But practice it if you want to. Okay. You go like a little more than 1.5 length and draw another parallel line, another slanted line that's parallel to this. That's a bad, not really parallel. Okay. Okay, that's close. Got it? So a slanted parallel line, a slanted line, straight line, like little more than its length to the right, you draw another parallel line, slanted, and they have to be pretty parallel. Okay, if you can pull that one off, the rest is easy. It's just connecting dots. It's like playing a little game. I need a little coffee. All right, go further. What do you do next? Starting from here, you almost go like one third from the top. If this is like, if you divide this line into like 3 parts, 1/3, 2/3, and the full length, you go here, straight line. My bad. And you don't go like the full length, you go like about 2/3. Okay. You almost go to the end, but then you stop like about 2/3 your way. Then what else do? You draw a line from here parallel to that, the same length. Okay. Then what do? You're done. Connect the dots. I'll do it one more time. Parallel line, slanted line, slanted line. And eventually it will become your second nature if you fall in love with drawing cyclohexane chair. You'll probably not do that. So I can do it. They don't always look pretty, but that's what it is. So that's the up point, that's the down point, that's the up point, down, up, down. So if we number it, I'm going to erase these guys. We want that space. If we number it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So let me just do something here. So if we draw the cyclohexane chair, okay, this is where you sit. This is the sitting area. I'll write that down. You sit here. This part this is your footrest. And this part is your backrest. That's why it's a chair.
The cyclohexane chair looks like the tanning chairs that you see by the pool, like the ones that are or kind of like the lawn chairs too, that are foldable.
Cannot agree more with you, Juan Carlos. And it'll be pretty cool If anyone is really good with woodwork, I don't know, I can guarantee that some of you are. I don't know. I have a feeling that I don't want to like pick like and be called, I have favorites, but then I think I know maybe a couple of you will be pretty good with your, maybe I'm biased and I'm stereotyping. Who is good with handiwork in the garage, like craftsmanship? Who's pretty good? Juan Carlos? I can guarantee that somebody else is also pretty good. No? Okay. So we will talk about the substitutions in cyclohexanes, and it'll be really cool what the cyclohexane can do, and if your chair can do that. You know, like when I came to this country and I saw the futon, and I was so excited that this is such a simple design, not those futons where it's like the bare bone futon. I'm talking about the futon where you have this little curvature within the wood. It's kind of carved, and you just kind of pull the back and it locks in there, like nothing, no hinge or anything, but just that mechanism, the way the groove is cut on the sides, and it just kind of locks up and it sits up, and then you can pull it in an interesting way. I was so sold, and when we were back in India, I was looking for a futon. I couldn't find it anywhere. I wanted to import it. I couldn't do that. So we came back, and the first thing that we did is buy a futon from Costco. So I can guarantee that some of you, if you have time, and resources should be pretty minimalist, it shouldn't be too much, you might be able to make a chair which can. Let's hold off on that discussion. This molecule can do something really weird and funny, and I'm talking about making your real chair do that something weird and funny. We'll talk about it in a second. I don't want to give away everything at this point. Yeah, that looks like that. All right, so that's what the chair cyclohexane looks like. Now, when we draw a cyclohexane like this, okay, when we draw a cyclohexane like that, and if I just draw the hydrogens, I don't know if something wrong with me today or it's just a very stuffy day. I'm going to open the door a little bit more. If I turn up my fan, it makes a horrible noise. I don't think that can be done, no. So all the 12 hydrogens look pretty much the same, okay? But if I put the hydrogens on the cyclohexane chair model, you will see that they look different, okay? And then I will draw it in the molecule. Then I'll show you like what this weird and strange molecule can do. And that's fascinating. I can guarantee that you will find it interesting. It's not just, like what molecules can do, how they can flip within their structure. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to use 2 different color hydrogens. I hope I have enough. 1, 2, 3. We'll make 6 of them red color and 6 of them blue color. Okay, ready? Let's start putting the blue ones. Let's put one here. It's interesting, it's sticking up. Let's see if there is another location that looks very similar. Well, this guy looks like it's also sticking out. It's like pointing up, like an antenna or chimney. Okay, 3 blue hydrogens sticking up. Let's turn the molecule upside down. Do we have something that looks like that? Sure. So there is this guy that's sticking up. There is this guy that's also pointing up, like a little antenna or whatever you call it. I don't want that to do it right now. And then we have one last one. Okay. So cyclohexane chair has 3 hydrogens pointing up and 3 hydrogens pointing down. If I turn the molecule upside down, the down point becomes up, and now that hydrogen that was sticking down, that's sticking up. All right, let's keep doing our business. Let's put the red hydrogens at the other location. If I hold the cyclohexane kind of horizontally, this bond is kind of sticking down, slanted, but not really up or down at an angle. The next guy is slightly sticking up. The next guy is sticking slightly down. The next guy is up. The next guy is down. And the next guy is up. So now let's put this crown around my head. Okay. 3 are down like a landing gear for a spaceship, and 3 are like the antenna of the spaceship. Or the spaceship can, actually this is pretty cool. Maybe Elon Musk should think about it. The spaceship can land either this way or this way. It doesn't matter. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Up and down are kind of similar. Okay. So they're pretty much the same. So think about it like 3, like it's like a tripod. It lands like this, and then there are 3 points up. And these hydrogens, the down hydrogen is from the up point, the up hydrogen is from the down point, and pretty much repeating that way all around. Okay. Now let's draw them on the cyclohexane molecule. You need to be really careful how you draw it. I want you to learn exactly how to draw this molecule in a really nice way. Okay. Let's see if I can keep it here so that you can see it. I wish my chair was a little taller. That could be perceived in a bad way. If this is, I'm not using it as a metaphor. I'll just keep it this way. It's kind of, okay. Very good. Maybe you can see it partially. You can see the top part of it. All right, blue pen. Up, up, up. I cannot leave the stick just like that. If I leave a stick up, what does the skeletal diagram rule says? Every end and every bend is a carbon. If I leave it like that, that means it's a methyl group, CH3. So you need to really specify that, oh, it's not a methyl group, it's a hydrogen. So write it down. It's a hydrogen. This is a hydrogen. This is a hydrogen. Then we have 3 down hydrogens, blue color. Okay. These hydrogens that are pointing up or pointing down, they're called axial hydrogens. Okay, all these 6 hydrogens pointing up and down, they're called axial hydrogens. Now comes the red hydrogens. Pay attention how you draw it. The red hydrogen that you draw from carbon 4 has to be parallel to the, not to the next bond, starting from 4, but 5, 6, and 3, 2 bond. So this stick, this bond has to be parallel to this line. Okay, not parallel to this line. That's wrong. That's not how it looks like. This bond is parallel to this bond. This is 4, this is 3. The 2-3 bond and this hydrogen they're parallel. Okay, so pay attention to how you draw these bonds. So this bond is parallel to that hydrogen. This bond is parallel not to these 2 bonds, but that bond and this bond, 1, 2, and 5, 4. The hydrogen, the red hydrogen from carbon 5 is parallel to 4, 3, and 1, 6. Got it? Take a look at it. Let's take a break for like a minute. I'm not going anywhere. I just want you to kind of wrap your head around the molecule or wrap the molecule around your head. Either way, both are equally fruitful. Sorry, I need to tell you something. These hydrogens, they're kind of like Earth, and that's the middle of the Earth, the middle of the planet. These red hydrogens are called equatorial hydrogens. One is called axial and one is called equatorial. Now, something weird can happen, but let's wait for another half a minute. Ask me any questions at this point about cyclohexane, drawing it, the shape of it, and the two types of hydrogens around cyclohexane. All good? Again, this is your sitting area, that's your backrest, that's your footrest. Okay? Now let's torture the chair. Let's see if you can build a chair that can do that. That'll be pretty awesome. If futons can exist, you guys can somebody can figure out who is really good with your hands in the garage with woodwork. You can figure it out. It'll be awesome to build something without making too many hinges and connections, just by some smart design, some ball socket joint, or I don't know. I mean, ball socket joint on a wooden stuff. I don't know if they exist. Maybe they exist, but maybe something. Someone can think about something. I don't have the luxury of spending so much time on it, but I would love to make a cyclohexane chair for our home. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do something terrible to the molecule. Okay. That's the down point, right? What we will do is we're going to push this number 1 carbon up and see what happens. So what we will do is we're going to push this part up. We're going to pull carbon 1 up and see what happens. So we are torturing the molecule. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to keep everything same. It's going to be not easy, but we will see if we can pull it off. I'll draw the molecule. There you go. Okay. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and let's draw everything else here. I'm not going to draw the hydrogens here. This guy, they remain pretty much the same. That guy, that guy, and yeah, let's keep it the way it is. We're going to push it up. So let's see if we can do that. That's the beauty of cyclohexane. Things can flip within the molecule. Okay. Ready? This is a beautiful molecule. Before we go there, let me just show you something cool about cyclohexane. Why it is such a happy molecule. Look down any two carbons like a Newman projection. Look down, I don't know. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Look down 3, 4. Let me see if I can hold it at the proper angle. There you. There you go. Okay. If you look down 3, 4, you see it's a perfect staggered. Take a look at it and appreciate it. It's a perfectly staggered conformation. And that's a happy conformation. Remember I told you that staggered is good and eclipse is bad? These two are staggered. Let's look at the next two carbons. These two carbons. You can tell I'm holding it in a funny way. These two are also staggered. So any two carbons, any two adjacent carbons in cyclohexane chair, they're perfectly staggered. Because of that, each carbon, if I disconnect and connect, you can see how happily it takes up the shape of a cyclohexane. There is no bending, there is no pushing, there is no angle strain. It's a really seamless job to put a cyclohexane together. Every carbon is a pretty perfect tetrahedron. This is an almost perfect tetrahedron. This is a perfect tetrahedron. These two are on the whiteboard. If you think that this is a methane molecule, just imagine for a second. This is a methane molecule. On the whiteboard, this is a wedge, that's a dashed line. Look at the next guy. On the whiteboard, solid lines, wedge, and a dashed line. Every carbon is a happy tetrahedral sp3 carbon. Nothing funny going on with bending their bonds and pushing things out of proportion and twisting their, with their proper angles. They're all approximately 109.5, and this is a super happy molecule. Yeah, let me just write it down. So all these angles, this angle, this angle, this angle, the CCC angle, all these angles are about 109.5 degrees. All the CH3s are sp3, and they're all perfectly tetrahedral. Couldn't be better than that. Now, after I push carbon 1 up, see what happens. Ready? The right side, I'm not touching it. The sitting area and the backrest on the right side, I'm not messing with that. All I'm doing is pushing the footrest up. It doesn't look like a chair anymore. It looks like what? It floats on water and it takes people from one place to another.
A boat.
It looks like a boat. Okay, so this is what this guy looks like at this point. And let me see if I can draw this strange molecule. If I hold it like this, I think it'll look like this. No, I'm not happy with that. Sometimes drawing a boat can be too difficult. Okay, and these bonds are looking really weird. It looks really weird. Okay. This guy, if you analyze the molecule, okay, hold on just a second. So this is how it was, and we pushed it up, and we got a boat. Okay. Now, if you analyze this molecule, look at. So this was carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the right side, the sitting area and the backrest, we haven't messed with it. All we did is we flipped the footrest up, and it doesn't look like a chair. It looks like a boat. Is this also a happy molecule? Let's check it out. We know that eclipse is bad and staggered is good. Look at carbon 2 and carbon 3. If I can hold it in the right angle in front of the camera. Carbon 2 and carbon 3 are eclipsed. Carbon 5 and carbon 6 are eclipsed. Okay. So this is carbon 2, carbon 1, and carbon 6. So 2 and 3 are eclipsed. That's bad. That's really bad. 5 and 6 are also eclipsed. This is bad. Eclipse is bad. We should teach in kindergarten. Eclipse is bad. Staggered is good. Maybe we should start teaching them cyclohexane structures. I think it's possible. That's bad. There is another problem. Look at these hydrogens on the top. On the boat, right? At the two ends of the boat, the points that are sticking away from water, if the boat is going to float like that, and the point on the left and point on the right, and there are two masts or two poles, these two hydrogens are too darn close. And that's bad. You can tell from the model that look at the gap between the two hydrogens, like more than the length of this pen. And look at the gap between these two hydrogens, significantly closer. So this is another problem. Okay, that problem has a name. I want you to memorize that. This problem, this interaction is called FLAG POLE, flagpole interaction. If I ask you, why is boat bad? Well, boat is bad because of two problems. Some of the carbons, adjacent carbons, are eclipsed. That's bad because the hydrogens are too close. These two hydrogens are too close. I mean, lots of things are too close. And second problem is it's got a flagpole interaction. I might ask you about that on Friday, in the midterm. So this is important. Let's take a 30-second break. We learned quite a bit. We are learning quite a bit of information today. Cyclohexane chair looks like this. You learned how to draw it. You learned there are two kinds of hydrogens, axial and equatorial. Each carbon with the two hydrogens are pretty equivalent because the down point and up point mean nothing Because if you flip the molecule upside down, the up point becomes down and the down point becomes up. Let me pause there. Up point becomes down and down point becomes up when you flip the molecule upside down. If you take the eraser and if this is your axial sticking up or something that's it's an up point. Once you flip it down, the up point becomes down point. Okay. So this is a happy molecule, super happy. This is the best cycloalkane you can think about. Okay, that's why nature chooses it quite often. Then what we did is we took one end of the cyclohexane and pushed it up. It's like the beak of a bird. It's down and we turned the beak up this way. Okay, but this side is up already. That's your backrest. This used to be your footrest. Now your footrest is also your backrest. It doesn't look like a chair anymore. It looks like a boat. And the boat is bad. It's a conformation. We're not doing any surgery on the bonds. We're not breaking bonds. We're not making bonds. All we are doing is this time we're not turning the molecule around a sigma bond, but we're flipping the molecule. That's another kind of physical change that a molecule can go through. It does happen in real life. So it goes up to this bond to look like this, and this is bad. Okay, this is stable. Let me write it down. This guy is stable, that this chair is very stable. Happy. This is a happy molecule. This is bad. This is unstable. Unhappy. Unhappy molecule, extremely unhappy molecule. It's suffering. Then what we will do is we're going to flip this side down and see what happens. I'm going to erase that carbon, the stuff on the right side. I don't think I'm going to take a picture. It's just a flat cyclohexane. There is not much to learn. This is what we had as a guide to what we're going to be learning today. Where are we? Quarter to 9. Okay. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this guy. It's not a big deal. We're talking about cyclohexane. We can keep that. And I'm going to erase this fancy diagram. I don't think we need that. We can draw it again one more time before we break today. Okay. Okay. Let me extend the green lines so that we can draw. All right. So now we flipped carbon 1 up. We pushed carbon 1 up. Let's do another flipping. Part 2. Part 2 flipping is push carbon 4 down. Push carbon 4 down and see what happens. Okay. You got the boat, right? You got the boat from this chair. This was the starting point, the chair. We made it a terrible boat. Okay. Now we're not going to mess with the left side. What we're going to do is this is carbon 4. We're going to push it down and see what happens. I'm trying to do it with making it as visual as possible. Look at the screen, everybody. Okay. So now we are pushing it down. Back to chair. Another beautiful chair. But if you compare, carbon 1 used to be down. Carbon 1, where I'm holding my hand, carbon 1 has flipped up. Carbon 4 used to be up, carbon 4 is down. So we flipped the whole cyclohexane, but it looks different. It's a flipped cyclohexane. How do we know it's a cyclohexane that's flipped? Well, What color was the axial hydrogens? They were blue. But look at them now. The equatorial hydrogens have become axial, and the axial hydrogens have become equatorial. Make sense? So I'm going to draw it in a nice way, holding it like this. It looks a little different, looks a little messed up. You know, I don't like that. A little better. In this molecule, the axials are what used to be equatorial. The reds are axial. 3 hydrogens up, 3 hydrogens down, 6 hydrogens axial, and 6 equatorial hydrogens. How do we draw them? Parallel to this bond, parallel to that bond, parallel here, parallel to that bond, parallel to this bond, and parallel to this bond. The bottom line is, if you flip the cyclohexane, if I do the flip, like the backrest becomes footrest and footrest becomes backrest, the hydrogens change their locations. Blue becomes red and red becomes blue. You can do that holding on to any two carbons across. I picked another 2 carbons. If I flip it, make the down up and up down. Blue goes to axial, red goes to equatorial. You get the point, right? So the bottom line is a cyclohexane chair can flip to another cyclohexane chair, swapping the location of the hydrogens, and it does that by going through a painful boat. Make sense? So this is the flipped chair. Axial hydrogens have become equatorial, and equatorial hydrogens have become axial. Let's stare at the board for a few seconds. I'll take a picture. Make sure you understand what's going on here. It might be showing up in the near future in terms of lots of points. Let's take a 1-minute break. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just standing here by the board, and if you have any questions, you ask me right now. We learned how to draw cyclohexane. We learned that it's a very happy molecule. Why? If I ask you, why is cyclohexane chair such a great molecule? What should you say? Well, if there are 4 answers, pick the answer that talks about the fact that every 2 adjacent carbon is staggered. Staggered is great. They're not axial. When you flip the molecule, when you do the flipping halfway, when you have only lifted one side or pushed one side down, push the backrest down or push the footrest up, when you have done that halfway, you get a terrible boat. Why is boat so terrible? Why is it a bad conformation? Well, you got a bunch of carbons, they're eclipsed. Carbon 2 and 3 are eclipsed. carbon 6 and 5 are eclipsed, and there is another problem, flagpole interaction. Too close, that's bad. Flagpole, because they're kind of like poles with a flag. You know, USA and whatever, India, it's a collaborative expedition, that boat. If you put two poles there and with the two flags, the flags will be like bumping into each other. That's why it's called a flagpole interaction. It's as simple as that. These flags and this flag they're bumping into each other basically. Too close, right? So that's bad. But then when you complete the flipping, when you have flipped the other end as well, then it's a happy cyclohexane again. Only difference is equatorial has become axial, axial has become equatorial. That's all. Okay. I took a picture. Okay. Any questions so far? Because cyclohexane can be, it might seem very easy, but when you try to apply the knowledge, it may not be as seamless as you think. It might be a little painful. Oh my God, I have two brand new erasers. That's cool. It's kind of funny. The custodian who works in this floor, he was my Ch8 student in the previous semester. Pretty nice guy. He's the one who leaves all this stuff here. And guess what? He got a pretty high B. And he works 2 jobs. He's a manager at an apartment complex, and he does this custodian work. And he's going to school because he wants to move up and have a better job and provide better life to his family. So, you know, not as privileged as us, but he never complains. He never says, oh, Dr. Maitra, I got 1 less, you took off 1 point. He never says that. I'm sorry, I'm mocking other people. Not in Ch8, that primarily happens in 128B. Dr. Maitra, you forgot to give me the bonus points. It's like 0.1 bonus point. Can you please make sure that I get that bonus point? So anyway, so yeah, he's pretty good. He left a little thank you note there. He says, I left this class, I ended spring with more knowledge about organic chemistry than what I had at the beginning. Really nice person. So yeah, thanks to him. He just makes sure that my board is clean and all that. How does this look like? Are you guys okay? You're not feeling dizzy or hallucinating yet, right? Feeling all right? Everybody, any comments? Speak up. I mean, don't make any gestures. Is it okay? You're comfortable with cyclohexane business? It can make you dizzy. Okay. It's 9 o'clock. I think we need a little more time to complete this discussion. I'm going to keep some of the complex stuff. I'm not going to bother you with that. Just give you I think you need to know one other thing about cyclohexane, because there are some molecules. You have heard about menthol, right? Menthol is a natural product that has a particular smell. Okay. Not vanillin. Vanillin is not cyclohexane. I'm trying to think what other molecules have, what are the natural products that we use that have cyclohexane structure? I think limonene. It's the ingredient in lemon that gives it the smell, typical smell. It's a cyclohexane structure. So it's kind of important because what we're going to talk about, because a molecule can be axial or equatorial, a particular substituent. We'll talk about that. But I'm going to ask you one last time. Any questions about cyclohexane chair flipping? Axial becomes equatorial, goes through boat. You guys are okay with that? Because I will be asking you questions from here. One last question. If you have any doubts, ask me right now. 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Can 12, 13.5, 15. Okay, time's up.
Oh, I had one. For the flipped chair, can you number the carbons? So like which carbon is now carbon 4 on the flipped chair?
This was the down point. This
Mhm.
was the, you know what? Let's do this. This is the sitting area. 2, 3, 5, 6 sitting area, right? That's a good question. I appreciate it. So that was the sitting area. Let's say this is the footrest. 1, 2, 6. And what color shall I use for that backside? That's going to stand out. How about blue? Let's use a check the stripe. That was the backrest. Okay, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5 is the backrest. 2, 3, 5, 6 is where you sit, and 1, 2, 6 is your footrest. Okay, so 1, 2, 6 is, let's do the green like sitting area. That's the sitting area of the boat, and it's supposed to be a checkered shape, right? You know, I'll probably take a picture of this. It makes sense. And the backrest is right here. We haven't messed with it. Backrest is 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. Sitting area is 2, 3, 5, 6, 2, 3, 5, 6. And the footrest used to be, was down 1, 2, 6. Now the footrest is up here. Okay, it's now looking like a boat. Okay, so the down point went up, and the up point is remaining up. So the up point is down. So this is actually, I drew this cyclohexane slightly differently, not exactly like that. So on the left side, the up point is 1. This is 1. Okay, that's 1. We are just looking at the molecule a little bit from the right side so that it doesn't look weird. Okay, so that's 1. That was a good question, by the way. 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, and this is 6. I could have drawn the molecule a little bit better. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Red, 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 red. In this case, 2, 3 bond is a little bit longer. It probably makes more sense. And the blue bonds are here: equatorial, 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 equatorial. It's the same thing. Okay. Now the sitting area is 2, 3, 5, 6. Let's do that. 2, 3, 5, 6. That's going to be difficult to pull off. That's why this was. I can understand why you guys are a little confused. I think this drawing was bad. That's the sitting area. 2, 3, 5, 6. It's easier to do it here. It makes more sense. That's the sitting area. Okay. The footrest is 1, 2, 6. 1, 2, 6. And that was blue stripes, kind of concentric. The footrest has become backrest. This is a better picture. 1, 2, 6 footrest has become backrest, and the backrest got pushed down, and now it's a footrest stripe. So backrest was 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. It's easier here to kind of visualize. The footrest, the backrest has become footrest. So whether you look at this picture or this picture, I think this picture is confusing because we are looking at the molecule from a weird angle. I somehow drew this kind of crooked. It's still an okay cyclohexane rendering, but this is probably better. I think this is better. Thank you for asking that question. So does it make sense now?
Yes,
Little
yeah,
more-
the other drawing made it
Yeah,
more
yeah,
clear for me. Thank you.
Thank you for, see, this is why I like dialogue. This is why you need to ask me questions. This is why nobody is a perfect instructor. Nobody is perfect at anything. It's a continuous process. My colleagues who claim that they're perfect, they're hallucinating. They're delusional. I mean, we are always improving, right? We get feedback. I mean, even I learned that I'm doing something really stupid sometimes, that I shouldn't be doing that. Sometimes I get that from your feedback. So feedback is always good. I'm going to take a picture. I'm going to post both the previous one and the new one. I'm not going to delete the new one because you will probably appreciate, you know, the question that Natalie asked and then where we went from there. Let's take a 15-second break. Okay, any other questions? I really appreciated that question. It was really very timely and very appropriate. And I knew something was wrong here, but I was kind of ignoring it. So you can actually see like how the molecules are looked at. So the red is up now, right? So the way we are looking at this molecule is more like a normal way. I don't know. I'm trying to see. You hold the bull by its horns. So this is how we are looking at it. And over here, I think we're looking at it more like a slanted way, kind of like this.
So you said the reason why the chair shape is the best is because every carbon is staggered.
Every two adjacent carbon is staggered. Staggered. These two are staggered. These two are staggered. So every two adjacent carbon in a chair, they are staggered. Staggered is awesome. They cannot be further away from each other. This is the best orientation. You saw it in FN when we did that Newman projection business. But once it's both, it's kind of screwed up. Once it's both, these two guys are eclipsed. And these two guys are also eclipsed. That's bad. And then on top of that, you have the flat pole interaction. Thank you for asking again. Okay. I took a picture or I didn't take a picture. I talk so much that I forget what I do every day. Hold on, let me just check my Google Photos. Yeah, I took a picture. Any other questions or concerns? So 2 and 3 are staggered. 1 and 2 are staggered. 1 and 6 are staggered. They're all staggered. Over here, the bottom of the boat, the two adjacent carbons, 2 and 3, are eclipsed. 5 and 6 are eclipsed. These two are staggered. These two are staggered. These two are staggered. These two are staggered. But 4 carbons are eclipsed. That's bad. Eclipse is, that means these hydrogens are too close. They don't like to be that close. That's bad, right? So energetically, it's more energy. It's an itchy molecule. And these two flag poles are too close from the top, from the 2 corners of the boat. If the boat looks like this, the 2 poles that are stuck from the 2 ends of the boat, like this, they're kind of slanted, reaching out to each other. And those 2 flags are too almost touching each other. And they don't like to do that. There is repulsion, right? The 2 electrons in this bond and 2 electrons in this bond, they're uncomfortable being so close. That's why it's bad. Okay, I am going to erase the board and let's talk about substituted cyclohexane. I think I want to close the board, my door almost, because I hear somebody else in the hallway. I have been told that I'm extremely loud. Even I know that I'm extremely loud. Nobody has to tell me. And I can't go to the middle ground. You know, either I scream or I whisper. When someone says softer, softer, they can hear you. Then I start whispering. Like now I cannot hear you, Shantanu. So I have not just eclipse problem, I have flagpole problems and other problems too. Okay, so let's practice the nomenclature, IUPAC nomenclature for substituted cycloalkanes. That'll be really fun. Sarcasm, okay? No, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. Some of these molecules, when you put substituents, they start looking like, some of them look like a kite. Sometimes it looks like a stingray. Sometimes it looks like a little, I don't know, like a spaceship. They look pretty awesome. We have a quiz, right? The quiz starts at, what did I say? 25 minutes for 8 questions. 3 minutes and some change for each question. I think 9:50. So I will probably take a little time to just confirm that I haven't screwed up something in the quiz. So we'll probably break at 9:15, 9:45, so that I have 5 minutes to make sure that the quiz is correctly written, there is no error and stuff like that. Okay. It's a pretty straightforward quiz, but you may need a piece of paper and a pen to kind of draw things out and figure things out. I have made it in such a way, written the quiz in such a way that it's not necessarily difficult, except for one question. And that's supposed to be the bonus question. But so again, total points will be 14, not 16. So you can ideally score 16 out of 14, like 100-some%. So you may need to write things down. I mean, looking in the notes, looking into the book will probably not be helpful. So it's open book and open resources. You can check out the videos, you can check out everything, but you really have to figure something out while you're taking the quiz. Okay. All right, so let's talk about substituted cycloalkanes. Substituted cycloalkanes. Okay. Let's take cycloalkane. Good. How would you name it? What's the name of this weird thing? Like a Hershey's Kiss, or like a little firecracker for 4th of July. That's the week where you lighten up and this whole thing explodes. Whether if you're an explosive kind of a person, you imagine that. If you have a sweet tooth, I am thinking Hershey's Kiss right now. I could totally use like a candy bar. Oh man, that would be so awesome, but there is no way I can get that. Even this, our vending machine is empty. Otherwise, I would have gone down and gotten some food from there. I am really going to crave for a candy bar right now. When I visited an old student in Mesa, like like a month and a half ago, I was doing some groceries at Trader Joe's and I was pretty hungry. I picked up a bar and an old lady kind of looked at me in a funny way because I think I was really like adoring the candy bar, and she goes, "It looks like you're going to enjoy that." I said, "Yeah, this is going to be my lunch." She goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, I'm away from my home, so no one is going to tell me not to have it." You know, one of the advantages of being an adult is that you can have as many candy bars as you want. No one is going to, your parents are not going to say, "Shantanu, you cannot have a candy bar, it's too big for you." And I said, "Yeah, my wife is not here, so I'm going to have this for lunch." And they started kind of cracking out. Okay, that looks like a Hershey's case. What's the name of it? Come on, name it. Name it. What?
Methyl cyclopropane.
I don't know. That sounds kind of weird. Methyl cyclopropane. I don't know. I feel like saying that sounds terrible. What do you guys think? Cheer or jeer? Zoom harass Natalie, or throw virtual paper balls at her. That would be so cool to have that feature, like throwing things at each other in Zoom. I think I would love, if I were the software engineer, I would definitely have it like a secret menu. Like, you know,
I mean, there are reactions on Zoom.
Yeah, that's not good enough for someone like me. I want something little more violent than that. I actually do. I still like when we have our seminar in chemistry department. Sometimes I throw like paper balls at the other faculties. They all of a sudden find something stuck in their hair. It's kind of fun, and the other students start like giggling and cracking up. Especially when the seminar is good and not like the student is not stressed out. When it's all relaxed, it goes well. When they're stressed out and they're failing, I wouldn't do that, just to add salt to their injury. Okay, methyl cyclopropane. What do you guys think? Give me a thumbs up. I'm looking at the screens. Many of you have your cameras on. This is a treat for me. I'm telling you. I had to beg my students to keep their cameras on. There's something special about you guys. I really appreciate it because that motivates me to like do my job in a better way. Otherwise, it's like I'm looking at this stupid blank screen. I like interaction. I like seeing you guys. All right, sounds good, right? Methyl cyclohexane sounds good, right? What do you guys think? Okay, sounds good. Thank you. That was Morgan. Okay, my methyl cyclohexane, the Hershey's Kiss looks good. Okay, how about this guy? Let's do some simple nomenclature. How would you name? Let's make things a little more complicated. Let's make it look like a kite. How would you name that? Somebody else.
I believe that would be ethyl cyclobutane.
Is it ethyl, Juan Carlos?
Oh no, never mind. I need to go back.
It's propyl.
Propyl cyclobutane. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I might throw some simple nomenclature from cycloalkanes. Let's say, how about this? Yeah, that's good. So how about this? I don't know. Don't give a knee-jerk reaction. I mean, take your time and figure it out. Take your time, work it up, work it out, and then tell me the correct name. And you will have to find the longest chain. In this case, longest chain, excuse me, is the circle. And then find the branches, name the branches, put them in alphabetical order, and then number the cyclic thing. How would you name it? Anybody ready? I don't care who it is. Rory is drinking coffee, I'm assuming.
It's tea.
Tea? What kind of tea? With caffeine or without caffeine?
Yeah, green tea.
Green tea is healthier than coffee, that's for sure. Okay, name. Come on, hurry up. I'm ready. It's not that difficult. The longest, the mother molecule is going to be the longest, the cyclic thing. So it's going to be something at the end of the name. It's going to be something, substituent, another substituent with the right numbers. Number hyphen branch 1 hyphen number hyphen branch 2 space cyclo something.
I'm confused on like which carbon to start on because like when we did the other ones, it was like either one end or the other.
Use your best judgment. You could number it. I'll show you how you can number it. I'll show you all the crazy ones. You can number it like this. You can number it like this. You can number it like this if you're absolutely not paying attention. How do you number it? Green, black, red numbering, or none of them?
I think I have.
You have it? Okay, come on, tell me.
I got 2-ethyl, 1-methyl,
2-ethyl, 1-methyl cyclo what?
pentane.
Cyclopentane. Okay, so you are saying that, okay, you did not take any of the, well, yeah, you didn't take any of this numbering. So you basically did, you numbered it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If there are 4 points, how much should I give Spencer? Unfortunately, for the multiple choice answers, you are screwed if you don't pick the right number. You lose everything. That's the caveat of multiple choice. Something is not right.
Would the numbers just be
Use.
flipped?
Yeah, go ahead, Rory.
The numbers would just be flipped? Because you would start.
Because Spencer, this is your first branch. Why shouldn't you number it 1? Why shouldn't you do it this way? It's a circle. It's a circle of life. It doesn't matter we start from death to birth or birth to death. And that was a bad, terrible metaphor. Sorry. That was a morbid one. Sorry. I withdraw it. Yeah, you pick the one where the first group gets a smaller number. I would call it 1-ethyl, 2-methyl cyclopentane. Got it? All right. Now comes cyclohexane. Let's draw it in 2D. Okay. You can see the devilish smile on my face. Okay. All right. Cyclohexane. Ready? I'm not so hung up on the name of the molecule. Something else is more important. Let's name it. Name it. That's what the cursed prince said to the princess. The prince was turned into a frog, and the frog said to the princess when she stumbled upon the frog, said, "You can name me. If you name me correctly, then I'll become a prince again, and I'll marry you." Okay, so name it. That's how the frog croaked. Name it. What's the name of this guy? Come on, don't think, just do it.
1-methyl cyclohexane.
1-methyl cyclohexane. Is the one really needed, Blake?
Probably not.
Probably not. I don't know what the IUPAC people have decided. I would just say methyl cyclohexane. Doesn't matter where it is. What's so important about methyl cyclohexane based on our just preceding discussion in this class? There is something that deserves some discussion. In 2D, it means nothing. Yeah, methyl cyclohexane. But what do you think can be a little,
Its shape?
Yeah. Little more detailed shape. So what do you want me to do now? Help me get to the bottom of this discussion. What shall I do now?
Would it be eclipsed?
Eclipse.
Which one?
Maybe you're thinking in the right area, in the right zone, but not in the right spot. You need to be not eclipse. Okay, so cyclohexane is not flat. It's not a flat planar hexagon. So what should we do first to analyze this molecule? What should we do now? What does it look like in 3D? What's the shape called?
Sure.
Chair.
Chair.
So do you recommend that we draw the chair? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so let's draw a chair. Let's pick a position where you want to stick the methyl group. Let's pick this guy. How many ways can the methyl group be introduced in this molecule on carbon 1? Let's say this is carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are the two locations on carbon 1? You can actually sit on top of the chair, or you can sit kind of along the chair in the equatorial position, right? There are two locations, right? So this is one possible direction where the methyl group can be, and this is the other possible direction where the methyl group can be, isn't it? So methyl group can occupy either the axial position or the equatorial position, right? So let's draw the two molecules. So these are the two possibilities. So now let us draw the methyl group, the green methyl group, axial, and let us try the green methyl group in the equatorial position. Let's see what's up with that. What's the deal with the two locations? I'm going to assume that every stick means a hydrogen. Let's say this is our methyl group. Okay, these three are the hydrogens. So okay, if this is the molecule with an axial methyl group, okay, that's an axial methyl group. It can go in as an axial or as an equatorial on the right side. Okay? Equatorial looks like a stingray. Just looks like a stingray or like a spaceship. Okay? When it's axial, there is a problem. Let's turn the molecule upside down. What's the problem? Well, I'll have to put some hydrogens. So imagine this is too big, but imagine this is a hydrogen. This molecule has two axial hydrogens. And now this methyl group is axial. They're pretty big, right? Ideally, these are all hydrogens.
Would that be a flagpole interaction because of it?
Would that be what?
The flagpole interaction we were talking about?
It's
Would
not
they be
called
too close?
flagpole interaction, but it is a bad interaction. It's got a different name, unfortunately. So this interaction between the axial methyl group and the axial hydrogens is called, it's called diaxial interaction. That means this dude is axial, this hydrogen is also axial. So whenever a substituent is axial, whatever you have attached to this end of this group, it's too close. As you can see, as the molecule rotates, when it's rotating, right, like a little fan or like a little turbine, at this point they're too close. That's not good. Okay, so this is called a diaxial interaction. And where are the axial groups with respect to each other? It's like carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3. So this is called 1, 3 hyphen diaxial interaction. This is bad. So these hydrogens and these hydrogens, okay, they bump into each other. And this is called, I'll use some color coding so that you remember. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So this interaction is called 1, 3 hyphen diaxial interaction. And this is not good. This is bad. I think Blake is right. It's kind of like that flagpole thing. I don't know the distance. We have to do the modeling study and find out exactly what the distance is. The distance might be, I think the flagpole, the distance is shorter. Flagpole is pretty bad. Okay, this is bad. So what's the conclusion? Between the axial methyl and equatorial methyl, let's check out if the same molecule is equatorial. So we figured out that axial is bad. We figured out this is bad, right? Now, if we keep this guy equatorial, it's like you could either think about it like a stingray, or you could think about it like a little boat with a propeller. You know, this is what turns like a submarine. I imagine stuff like this is turning like a battery operated submarine, and it moves, cuts through, swims through water, right? When it's equatorial, it's in nobody's business. These hydrogens, if I put something here, way too far away from each other. Look at the distance between the hydrogens. That's too far, not that close. This guy, this axial, not even close, extremely far away. So when it's equatorial, it's not going to be in anybody's business. There's no such thing. So the equatorial, when you have a substituent, it prefers the equatorial position. So most of the time, the molecule will stay in the equatorial conformation. This is preferred. Less energy. This is good. This is bad. All right, let's take a quick break. Maybe 5 minutes. I'm going to stop recording. So somebody please remind me when we get back. Let's take a 5 minutes break. 9:31. So let's meet at 9:36. And I'm going to stop recording. I'm supposed to take a picture.